Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss a little campaign against hate speech on GB News that some of you may be interested in, and perhaps even interested in getting involved in. It's really easy. It concerns a recent broadcast where the presenter said that LGBTQ+ represents paedophiles. Good Law Project believe this is a clear breach of several sections of Ofcom's Code of Conduct for broadcasters. So now there's a campaign to make as many formal complaints as possible, it's already really high, in order to pressure the regulator into taking some proper action this time. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So I'm sure some of you have already come across this, but for those who didn't, GB News presenter Josh Howie was talking about LGBTQ+. Now, of course, we'd all like it if news outlets discussed issues like this much more often. But when GB News decides to do so, you know it's not going to be helpful. Howie was talking about the community and said, quote, "I just want to say that includes pedos." Now, it's worth noting a few things here. First, there's been no great focus on this in the mainstream media. I mean, journalists and commentators are always discussing when other journalists and commentators, are talking. The Guardian last week, for example, was talking about what writers for The Spectator and The Sun were saying about Tory dissatisfaction with Badenoch, for example. This is normal. You know that thing you get on YouTube sometimes where you get two vloggers who seem to be having a weird conversation with each other via videos on their own channel. YouTuber A comments on what YouTuber B said. Then YouTuber B goes, "Hang on a minute," and they comment on what YouTuber A said about what YouTuber B said. And it's all very tedious, but all too common. Well, it happens in the mainstream media as well. But I haven't come across any prominent articles about Josh Howie pushing harmful, badly outdated, bigoted views. And it's because these views are all too pervasive in our media ecosystem. Like, take Keir Starmer's HIV test this week, for example. So he's trying to raise awareness with an aim to preventing new transmissions altogether in this country, right? Yeah, many in the media ridiculed him for taking the test. Why would a straight married man take a HIV test, they asked. What's being straight got to do with that? These knuckle draggers are still pushing the same old stereotypes that allowed too many people not to take HIV and AIDS seriously. In the 80s, when I was growing up, when this became a big thing, I thought we'd moved past that. Apparently not. So what Howie was doing was reducing real people with real challenges, some of the most challenged people in the country facing the most hostility, and reducing them to a political talking point for what? A few minutes airtime because he was too lazy or feckless to come up with anything real to talk about. And that's something worth thinking about as well. So we know that there are presenters and writers in the media who get paid a lot of money. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. Isabel Oakeshott obviously gets paid a lot if she can afford to move to Dubai. Mind you, obviously not paid enough to afford taxes. But there are others who don't get paid that much, all things considered. See, I don't know what Howie is paid. Sometimes you find out what this one of them's paid, and maybe you know. I've not been able to find it. But the average TV presenter salary in London is only about in line with the average salary for all jobs. Even if Howie is paid more than the average TV presenter, he's probably earning less than I am. In fact, he's certainly earning less than I am doing this channel. So, you look at the stars like Nigel Farage and Eamon Holmes aside, they're getting big bucks, right? But if GB News are paying presenters less in general than you can get for doing the same thing freelance on your own YouTube channel, of course they're only going to be able to attract the sort of talentless drones who couldn't do something like that on their own efforts, otherwise they would be doing. And that's who you watch in presenting TV shows a lot of the time. You're not looking at the most talented presenters in the country. The most talented presenters in the country are doing their own thing. They'd be making more money because YouTube gives you that power these days. You're mostly watching presenters who aren't good enough to be presenters, which is why they're mostly paid so little. So it's no wonder they struggle to come up with anything worthwhile to talk about. But suggesting that the LGBTQ+ community are serious sexual abusers, when they are more often not the victims of serious abuse, was bad even by GB News standards. And if others in the mainstream media won't take their colleagues to task over this disgusting diatribe, then there are those who think it's down to the rest of us to make it clear it's not actually acceptable. Needless to say, there have been lots of complaints, as I say. In fact, it's apparently approaching something of a record number of Ofcom complaints. Good Law Project point out this is a breach of the code, which is designed to protect the public from harmful and offensive material. So they've set up a page in order to let us make complaints to Ofcom in a very easy way. And they're curating it for further action if Ofcom don't take robust action this time. They've provided a cookie cutter complaint text, which they will sort of pass on. So all you have to do is put your details in. If you're willing to do so, of course, not everyone is. And you don't have to go through the Good Law Project system if you want. You can make the complaint direct to Ofcom yourself. I'll put a link in the description for both of them below. But the Good Law Project version allows you to do it really easily, and you can put in your own custom response as well if you like. I did. I'll share with you what the main thrust of mine was, because the way I see it, like, vulnerable minorities already face unfair hostility in their lives from some people, right? The very least they should expect is that society at large has their backs. That means the government, as well as other institutions such as current affairs or news media outlets, they should be countering hate speech, not directing it. Frankly, I think that it's disgusting that people with a public platform are allowed to maliciously and falsely promote hate speech against anyone, whether it be an individual or a group. Hate is one of the most self-defeating emotions humankind ever developed for modern society. But when you're directing it at people already under assault, who are vulnerable, who are facing the sort of attacks which are badly affecting their mental health or worse, then we really should be making a stand against that. This is our community under attack here. And all those who preach integration and inclusion in our society should be standing against this schools. Of course, the ones who shout loudest about integration are the ones promoting this divisive hate all too often, aren't they? Because the ones working to integrate people into society are not shouting about it, they're doing it. But anyway, there is a limited amount of time for these complaints to get to Ofcom for anything to happen. February 17th seems to be the date, so today or tomorrow, I suppose, would be ideal. And whether you are happy to make a complaint personally or not, perhaps you know others who would be, so please make them aware, because it's not exactly being promoted in the media, is it? But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.